On the line right now, Debbie Farnaby, CEO of Save the Children SA. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you doing?
Super.
Awesome stuff. You've got a great event coming up Friday the 10th of August. It's called the No Hunger Games.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit about this event that's coming up.
Helen, this is really an opportunity for us to do some advocacy work and to bring attention to the fact that there's a report which has recently been released which indicates that South Africa is actually dropping in terms of, it's dropped 24 places in terms of children's health, education and nutrition across the globe. And this is very concerning.
Yeah, and I read a thing about, it's also a breastfeeding week, or breastfeeding awareness week, and the figures are actually staggering of the percentage of women who actually are in fact breastfeeding their children. And of course, I mean that is a good start in life, and with the malnutrition at the levels that it is, you would think that the drive to sort of get women to breastfeed would be bigger.
Well, it's such an important thrust for us now, and Save the Children is putting a lot of effort into training clinic sisters about this. A couple of years ago, Helen, there was a report that was released that indicated that breastfeeding may result in mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
And so there was a very strong thrust to say, let's move away from breastfeeding so that we actually reduce the amount of transmission. However, if the mother is on a good regime of antiretrovirals, there is no chance of mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS during breastfeeding. And so it is the best form of nutrition. So often we try and compete with Mother Nature. And Mother Nature really does know best. And, the child gets such good immunity and such a good start in life through breastfeeding. The figure is actually 8% in South Africa, where you compare that to Swaziland, where 44% of mothers are breastfeeding. Tanzania is at 50%. The next lowest that I can recall offhand is Nigeria, which is at 14%, Helen.
Yeah.
So put that in context and you see how low the level of South African breastfeeding actually is.
And maybe it kind of poses the question as well about mothers knowing their status, sort of taking another angle on things, because of the percentage of the women who aren't breastfeeding for fear of having HIV/AIDS and not actually knowing.
Exactly.
Maybe there's a line.
Science. I mean, we really want to encourage women to know their status, to be tested, to understand that this is no longer regarded as a death sentence, but more as a chronic illness. If we can get women onto, and the government is providing the ART and antiretroviral drugs, if we can get women onto a good regime of antiretroviral drugs, their life expectancy is considerably extended.
Yeah.
And they're then there to bring up their children, to provide them the support that they actually require.
And also, Debbie, obviously Save the Children Foundation, like you said, focusing on education and all other issues as well. You've just recently been appointed the CEO, so congratulations to you for that. What other changes do you intend bringing to the foundation to bring more awareness around these issues?
So, Helen, we're going to see a dramatic change. Historically, Save the Children has operated programs in South Africa. So we have had other member countries operating in this country. Now the decision has been made to create a full member country status for South Africa. So as opposed to having programming members coming in here and just doing projects, and please remember when I talk about projects, I talk about sustainable projects. We're a rights-based organization, and our focus is not just on giving or donating, but actually ensuring that those programs are truly sustainable. And I can give you some examples of those because they really are inspiring when you hear what's going on the ground. But the lovely thing is we've now been given the support by Save the Children International to create a full member country here in South Africa. And so you're going to be seeing a far greater presence. We're going to have to start doing some direct fundraising in this country. We're going to push our profile up in terms of creating greater awareness about the kind of work that we actually do. And we'd love support, as much support as we can possibly get from the general population.
And this event that is going to be held later this week at Hope School in Pallinghurst Street, Westcliff, is everybody invited to that?
Anybody is invited, and everybody is invited. And it's such a lovely venue to go to from a number of reasons. So number one, you've got the School for the Physically Handicapped there on the premises, together with the Princess Alice Adoption Home and the Association for People with Physical Disabilities. It's the most beautiful old Herbert Baker home as well for those people that want to go and have a look at a bit of the history. It's going to run from 10:30 to about 12. We're going to be bringing in some of our athletes that we have been working with children to raise their issues in a constructive manner. So what we're doing in Kwakwa, and this is one of our programs, is teaching children how to run a committee, how to appoint members to a committee, how to deal with their problems, how to prioritize them. We're working with the schools as well to enable them to deal with these committees, and then we're working with the local district education authorities. And we've had some lovely stories where these children's committees are now feeling empowered to actually raise issues that are wrong in the school in a constructive manner with the district educational authorities, as opposed to burning a school or damaging textbooks or kind of some of the frustration that comes out when these children are just getting an inadequate education and they know it. So we're bringing up some of those children. They're going to be doing some sporting events up at the Hope School, and it really is just an opportunity for us to get together to talk about the results of this report that has come out, to bring attention to the fact that this drop in breastfeeding is happening, and we have seen a decline on all three metrics. I mean, and what this report looks at is it looks at nutrition, it looks at child weight, and it looks at child registration at school.
Yeah.
So it's looking at education, health, and nutrition. And unfortunately, we just haven't moved.
Yeah.
All the other countries have moved since the baselining data of 1990.
And you
we've
kind of
stayed pretty much the same or gone up slightly.
Because the thing is, you kind of think malnutrition, and you think of pictures of those children in Africa, the cliched picture of the distended tummies and such. Yeah. And that is pretty dire, those children who live out in the middle of nowhere who don't even have access to food. Whereas in South Africa, the problem is maybe a lack of education and the malnutrition and the children not getting what they need, even though it is accessible.
It is around education, but it is also about availability in some of the more rural areas, Helen.
Yeah.
Especially if you go into the remote areas. You know, some kids have to walk kilometers to get water still. And, you know, the nearest loaf of bread is not nearby.
Yes.
And so nutrition does become something that is really just getting enough food to fill the tummy as opposed to a balanced diet. And we do need to tackle this through a multi-pronged approach. We need to look at education, of course.
Yeah.
And you know, I just say to people, how can you expect a child to become a functioning member of a community if they've never known a full belly or a safe place to rest their heads at night, and they haven't been educated to know what their rights and what the opportunities are that are available to them?
Yeah, and it's going on around us. I mean, we're such a diverse nation. Like you say, I mean, you kind of think of South Africa as a developing country or even a developed country, and you forget about the other people who are out there in these areas, like you say.
And we're such a land of wonderful contrasts. I mean, on the one hand, here we get the SKA, which is the most fabulous news for our scientific community.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we still have children suffering acute malnutrition. And I just feel that, you know, with the resources and the technology that is available to us, this shouldn't be happening. And so this is why we really feel that there is an opportunity for us to save the children, to raise awareness, to show people what is actually happening on the ground, and to make lasting improvements to our children's lives. They are the next generation. I mean, they're our future.
Exactly.
You know, we really have to contribute as much as we possibly can to their well-being.
And they're all entitled to it,
people will say to me, it's the government's responsibility. But I think we also have a responsibility to our own community and society.
Very true. Deborah, we're going to put the details of your event coming up this Friday from 10:30 till 12 at that Hope School. We'll put that on our website, and also your website address as well, so people can go and have a look and get involved.
And I'll also give you my direct contact details, because if anyone wants to get involved and feels that they can contribute in one way or another, you know, please feel welcome.
Awesome.
You know, we need every one of us to pull together in the same direction.
And create awareness together. Bronwyn has those details, so we'll make sure we get those up there.
Fabulous.
So people can get in touch.
I appreciate your time this morning, Helen.
It's a pleasure. You have a good week, Deborah. Thank you so much for the work that you do.
Take care.
Bye-bye now. Deborah Farnaby, the CEO of Save the Children, and doing amazing work. It is, you kind of forget, because we live in this hustling, bustling town, and you kind of forget that this is all still going on, and these children, you know, that they can't. How can you function? How can you, even if you've got access to school and access to certain things, if you don't have food and you're not getting the correct food, even if you're getting food, how can you function in the world? So Deborah and Farnaby doing an amazing, amazing job with Save the Children. Go on to chaifm.com and you can get details of that event should you want to go and take part, or if you want to get involved in Save the Children with donations or ideas or anything, you can do so.